Yes, good morning class. Everyone please switch on your videos. Okay, so today we will discuss about the breathing exercises, okay, that I told you about yesterday. So those were your pursed lip breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, glossopharyngeal, and then segmental, right? So first is your pursed lip breathing, okay. See, pursed, I gave you some videos to watch. Did you guys watch those videos? I gave some YouTube links yesterday and the day before yesterday, maybe I gave you some video links. So did you all watch that? If you watch those videos, then it will be easier for you to understand now, okay? Or even if you have not watched it, so kindly after the class you watch it, okay? So I have given the links in the group, you can relate it then. So first is your pursed lip breathing. So this is a kind of practical purpose. So when I say how to do it, you just pay attention to that, okay? So first is your pursed lip breathing. In a simple way, if I am to say you what is pursed lip breathing, simply you can say it is breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Okay, it's that simple. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. But then how this simple technique helps you? There has to be some physiology which is related behind it, which is helping you. So pursed lip breathing is actually a simplest way. It is the most simplest way to control your shortness of breath, because it provides a quick and easy relief, and also it slows down your breathing rate, and each breath it becomes more effective because you pay attention to your breath. Now when you are doing an exercise, you will pay attention to your breath, how you are taking it in, how you are exhaling it out. So this will help you. Now what does pursed lip breathing do? So it, number one, it improves the ventilation means it helps in improving the airflow to your lungs. Then also it helps in releasing the trapped air in the lungs. Okay, see, in the, if you remember, I discussed about the obstructive and the restrictive lung diseases. So what happens in case of your obstructive lung disease? You are unable to breathe out, right? Why? Because there is some air trapping in the lungs. So you are unable to breathe out, or you are unable to exhale, or even if you exhale, it is a bit difficult for you, and as a result what happens is that more amount of air is trapped in your lungs. Now if you perform this pursed lip breathing, more amount of air will be released from your lungs, that is the trapped air which is present in your lungs, which should come out, that is released. It also helps to keep your airway open for a longer period of time. Okay, your airway, that means maybe your trachea or your bronchi or the bronchioles, whatever was constricted, this pursed lip breathing, it helps to keep it open for a longer period of time. And also this decreases the work of breathing. Now what is work of breathing? Work of breathing means the energy which you spend on inhaling and exhaling. Simply by taking a breath also you are using your energy. So the amount of energy that you are spending, that is your work of breathing on your inhalation and exhalation. Now this pursed lip breathing, what it does is it decreases the work of breathing, okay? And when you do this exercise, you usually, the breath that you blow out, usually it is a slow process, okay? So it helps in prolonging your exhalation period, and your breathing pattern is also improved, because the air that was trapped in your lungs, that was moved out, and then new fresh air gets to enter your lungs, and this relieves your shortness of breath. And this is usually very effective in relieving shortness of breath. Even sometimes when you are climbing up a hill, or maybe you are climbing up the stairs, sometimes you might feel shortness of breath. Then you try doing this pursely breathing. This will definitely help you in relieving the shortness. Okay. Next is, it causes great relaxation. Of course, all the breathing exercises, they relieve the stress in your body and they provide you with relaxation. Now, usually when you are doing some kind of activity, for example stair climbing, or you are lifting something, or you are bending forward, so during these activities also you can carry on your pursely breathing. And as a part of the exercise regime, if you try to do it, then you can do it like for 4 to 5 times a day. Okay, but first you need to know what is the correct pattern or what is the correct technique to do it. So first what you do is, here is the technique. Easily if you say, it is breathing in through the nose, breathing out through your mouth. Okay, but still there are some precise things that needs to be taken care of. Okay, first is, when you do this exercise, you have to be in a comfortable position. Okay, maybe you are sitting, or maybe you are in semi-Fowler's position that I have shown you yesterday, or some people might be in supine lying as well. So after that, after taking your comfortable position, what you do is, you relax your neck and shoulder muscle. After relaxing your neck and shoulder muscle, you breathe in slowly through your nose. Okay, very slowly. It is not rapid. You breathe in very slowly and deep. Okay, you breathe in for like say 2 counts. Okay, suppose you're counting up to 1, 2, or maybe up to 3 counts. Okay, 1, 2, or 1 to 3. Till then you will be breathing in. So while you will be breathing in or inhaling, you need to check that your mouth is closed. Okay, so that you make sure that you are breathing only through your nose. So you have to keep your mouth closed and you will be breathing only through your nose. And while breathing, you count in your mind for up to 2 or till 3. Okay, and you breathe in during that process. You do not need to make it a very deeper one. Normal breathing will do, but the thing is, it should be a slow one. Okay, like inhale and then count 1, 2, or 1 to 3. After that, what you do is, you purse your lips or you pucker your lips. How you do it? So I know that you all have seen candles, right? So when you try to blow out candles, so what you do, how do you make your lips? So that is known as pursing your lips or puckering your lips. Or wait, or also when you try to like whistle. Okay, whenever you try to whistle, the way you make your lips or you make your mouth, that is puckering your mouth or puckering your lips. Okay, so the way how you try to blow a candle or the way how you try to whistle, in that way now you will gently exhale. Okay, means you will move the air out now through your mouth, not through your nose but through your mouth, while counting to 4 or 6. Now why 4 or 6? The thing is, yesterday I told you inhalation used to exhalation time should be 1:2. That means if you inhale for 1 second, you have to exhale for 2 seconds. So similarly here, if you inhale for 2 seconds, you had to take it slow, right? So you were inhaling for 2 seconds. You were counting in your mind 1, 2 while inhaling. Now while you exhale, you have to count till 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Means your exhalation, it should be longer than your inhalation. I'll show you some picture. Can you see this? So this is how you take in the air. That is a normal breath. Normally how you breathe in that way only you will do this. So when you do this, you keep your mouth closed. Okay, why mouth closed? Because you have to make sure that you are breathing only through the nose and your mouth is not being used. And while you are breathing in through the nose, you count till 2. Maybe 2 or maybe 3. There is no definite rule, but I'm giving you the example of 2. Okay, so you count in your mind till 2. Do not count with your mouth, because if you count with your mouth open, then again the air will go through your mouth as well. So do not do that. Okay, you count in your mind only. When you breathe in, count 1, 2, and after that, this. This is how you pucker your lips. So as if you are trying to blow a candle or as if you are trying to whistle. Okay? And then you slowly let the air out. While doing this, you count till up to 4. If during inhalation you have counted till 2, then during exhalation you count till 4. And then you let the air out. Okay? In this way, you let the air out. You count till 4 and you let the air out. Breathe in through your nose. Keep your mouth closed. Count till 2. After that, pucker your lips, or the way you try to blow a candle or blow a whistle, make your mouth in that way, and then you try to move the air out. So this is what you call as pursed lip breathing. Clear? Is it clear, pursed lip breathing? Okay, so you all when you finish the class, I give you the links. This breathing technique is there, demonstrated there properly. So you can go back and check those videos and also try this breathing by yourself. Okay. And there are some things that you need to keep in mind. The things are, you do not need to force the air out. Okay. So while like exhaling, you will keep your mouth open, right? So do not force the air out. Okay. You do it very slowly. Very slowly. And then always breathe out longer than you breathe in. So because of that, I told you to count till 2, and while you breathe out, count till 4. So in that way, you will be able to breathe out longer. Okay, even if you don't count, that's okay. But the thing that you need to keep in mind is your exhalation should always be longer than your inhalation. Okay, and then you breathe slowly, easily, and relax until you have the complete control over your breath. Okay, do it in a relaxed way. So that was about your pursed lip breathing. Clear to all?
Ma'am.
Okay. So next we will discuss diaphragmatic breathing. So before discussing diaphragmatic breathing, let me ask you something. When you breathe in, what do you think? Your stomach, it goes out, or your stomach goes in? Try noticing that. Means when you breathe in, your stomach, it goes in, or your stomach, it moves out. It goes in. It goes in for everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in diaphragmatic breathing, what you do is when you breathe in, you have to move your stomach out. Okay. It is a bit difficult one, but with regular practice, you can get the control over it. Okay. Sometimes you might find it that it is not relaxing you or something, because it is a tougher one when you practice. But with regular practice, it will be easier for you to do this. So while you were doing diaphragmatic breathing, your stomach, when you breathe in, your stomach goes out, and when you breathe out, your stomach goes in. It's the opposite. And what happens is that most of the patients, they are not able to do this exercise in the sitting position. So you have to make them lie down in a supine position or the semi Fowler's position to do this exercise, because it is a bit difficult one to do. Okay. So what happens in your diaphragmatic breathing? But before that, you need to know what is diaphragm. So I hope you all know what is diaphragm. It is the most efficient muscle of breathing. It is a large dome-shaped muscle located at the base of the lungs. It separates your thorax and the abdomen, right? The thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. And it also helps in inspiration. It is the main muscle of inspiration. But what happens in case of your obstructive lung diseases, this diaphragm, it cannot work efficiently. And what happens? Your air is trapped in your lungs. Why? Because in case of your obstructive diseases, you are not able to breathe out properly. So air is trapped in your lungs. And where is the diaphragm located? Just below your lungs, right? So what happens here is, when air is trapped in the lungs, it starts pushing the diaphragm down. Okay, means you think of lung as a pouch and diaphragm as something which is lying below the pouch. So if the pouch is filled up more than required, so ultimately what will happen is it will start pushing the structure which is below it, right? So similar things happen in case of your obstructive lung diseases. In case of your obstructive lung diseases, you are not able to exhale, or there is difficulty in exhaling. So when you are not able to move the air out from your lungs, so more than required amount of air will be trapped in your lungs. Now what will happen is, when more than required amount of air is present in the lungs will get heavier. They will start pushing the diaphragm which is located below it, they will start pushing it down. So this is what happens. That is why yesterday I told you to study about it. Clear about this? What happens in COPD? Means obstructive diseases. Clear? You all understood, or you all want me to repeat this? You all understood, or you all want me to repeat this? Repeat. Okay. See, wait, I'll show you a diagram and then you will understand it properly. Wait. Okay. So here you can see, these are your lungs. Below the lung, this is the diaphragm. The labeling is done here. Say this is the diaphragm. So just below your lungs, your diaphragm is present. And then these are your airways. Whatever you are seeing in this white color, these branches, these are your airways. Trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. These are your airways. Now what happens in your obstructive diseases, that is your COPD, okay, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. So what happens in COPD is, I told you the two types of lung diseases, one is obstructive, one is restrictive. In restrictive, it is difficult to take in air, and in rest obstructive, it is difficult to move the air out. Okay, there is difficulty in exhalation. So what happens in your obstructive lung diseases, since you are not able to move out the air, okay, you are not able to move all of the air out through these branches or these airways, so as a result what happens is that more amount of air is trapped in your lungs. Now think of the lungs as some pouch or bag. Now when it will be filled up more than required, so what will happen is that it will be heavier. Kind of, it will become heavier. So what happens is that it starts pushing the structure which is below it, that is the diaphragm. It starts pushing it down. So this is what happens in case of your obstructive diseases. You are not able to push all of the air out. As a result, your lungs, they become filled with more amount of oxygen, and when this happens, this starts pushing the diaphragm down. Clear? Clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what is diaphragmatic breathing? So diaphragmatic breathing, what it does is, it helps you to correctly use your diaphragm. Okay, correctly use your diaphragm. It helps to strengthen your diaphragm. decrease the work of breathing, because that is the energy that you expend while breathing. It helps in decreasing that energy expenditure, and also it slows down your breathing rate. Okay, it decrease the oxygen demand and use less effort and energy to breathe. Okay, there is the, it decreases the work of breathing, and also it helps to strengthen your diaphragm. That is the main aims and goals of this diaphragmatic breathing. Now, how is it done? Usually, diaphragmatic breathing, since I told you, since it is a bit difficult one, so what you do is, usually you start with lying position. Okay, you lie on your back on a flat surface, or maybe in a bed with your knees bent. Okay, you bend your knees and you lie in that position. Wait, I'll show. Okay, you lie in this position, you're lying on a flat surface on your back, maybe on your bed. Okay, and then next what you do is you bend your knees. You can put pillows under your knees. You have also kept pillows under your head to keep your head and neck relaxed. Now one hand is on your upper chest, the other hand is just below your rib cage, that is just on your stomach. Okay, in layman terms, if you say, one hand is on your chest, the other hand is on your stomach. Now why on the stomach? Actually, not exactly on the stomach, but just above it, just above it, just at the end of the rib cage, or you can say at the upper part of the stomach. Why there? Because this will help you to feel your diaphragm. When your diaphragm, whether it is moving up or down, you will be able to feel it when you keep your hand in this position. Okay, the below hand. Now what you do is, you breathe in slowly through your nose. Okay, breathe in slowly through the nose, and as you breathe in, see this, while the air, you can see these arrows, while the air is going in through the nose, your stomach, it should move upward and above. Okay, see, the arrows are in different direction. Air is going in and the stomach is going up. Okay, and during this you keep your mouth closed, because you have to breathe in only through your nose. So to make that effective, you have to keep your mouth closed. You will breathe in through the nose, and then while breathing in through the nose, your stomach will go out. Okay, and while doing this, the hand that you have kept on your upper chest, you need to make sure that this hand is still. Okay, this hand is not moving much, or this, because you should not try to make your chest move much while doing this diaphragmatic exercise. So you keep this hand, that is the hand that you can see above, you keep it as still as possible. And how will you get that feedback? That I told you about biofeedback, right? So these hands are for your biofeedback only. Okay, so the upper hand, you try to make sure that this hand is not moving much. And when will this hand move? When your chest will move. So you do not try to move your chest much while doing this exercise. You only try to move your stomach. So the hand which is below, so with the help of that, you will be able to know whether your stomach is going up or down. So these hands are kept for your biofeedback only. Okay, so when you breathe in through the nose, your stomach should go out. Now next what you will do is, when you breathe out,